And welcome to a very special edition of the Morning Briefing. I'm Jeff DeForest along with Mike Lubitz. And normally you get Lubie and me talking about sports, trying to steer you in certain directions when it comes to making wagers. And eventually you end up getting zipped up in a body bag as you're carried out of the sports book with a stack full of losers. But this is very special for us because we love exploring the psyche and the story of renowned gamblers. Anybody from Billy Walters to Pete Rose to Phil Mickelson, all the way down to our fictional bookmaker, Louis the Lipschitz. Always love trying to delve into the mind and the mindset of people who have been very successful in the gambling genres. And I don't think there's any more legendary character than the gentleman we're about to introduce to you, Lubie. This guy, and part of my favorite movie of all time, maybe the Citizen Kane of gambling movies, the movie Rounders, right up there with the original version of The Gambler with James Caan. Not the duped-up second revision of it with Mark Wahlberg. That was garbage by comparison. But maybe no movie defined an era and set the stage for an explosion in what is now considered somewhat of a sport than Rounders did for the world of poker. And the star of the movie, clearly, joins us right now, the great Johnny Chan, two-time World Series of Poker champion, back-to-back in the late 80s. Johnny, how are you? Great to have you on the program. It's really an honor, my friend.
It's good morning to y'all. Man, this is feeling so good to get up this early. Normally, I don't get up this early. I'm at the West Coast, I don't get up till like at least noon. But today, Jeff and Mike, for you guys, I'm here. I'm ready to rock and roll.
Excellent. No bluffing on this one. We really do have nothing but massive respect for you. I was reading the story about how you got actually, and this was great because the fact that you were actually appearing in the movie Rounders when you squared off there with Matt Damon at that Atlantic City poker game, and Damon ends up saying, Johnny fucking Chan, I had him. It added a dose of validity to the movie. You have a fictional story with a real guy that everybody recognizes as being a big part of the game. I thought it really added a tremendous touch in terms of making the movie credible. But the way you got into that part, it was kind of interesting. And the fact that you worked your way actually for a live cameo into the movie, was that not inspired by your daughter and her desire to meet Matt Damon?
100%. I mean, I told my daughter, Jennifer, so I'm going to sign a release for this movie with Matt Damon and Ed Norton called The Rounder. And she says, Daddy, Matt Damon? I want to meet him.
Yeah.
Really? Well, let me talk to the producers. And then the producers, well, our script's already right up and everything. I say, buddy, if I don't get to meet him, I'm not signing anything. And then, sure enough, they add me into the script, and then we finally got to meet Matt and Ed Norton in Atlantic City when we shoot the movie at the Taj Mahal in 1998. Matter of fact, that's when I was there, that's when I first time met Donald Trump. Believe it or not, that was his baby. That was his casino. So we were playing poker over there too, also. Yeah.
Fantastic. And now the movie at first was not a huge hit, but it became such a popular cult followed movie. And I would have to say, I mean, in terms of realistically depicting or seemingly so, what goes on in poker in the mind of poker players, it was as good a movie as I've ever seen in that regard. How did you find that? And this really preceded the poker craze where now everybody sort of understands at least some of the principles of Texas Hold'em.
As today, Jeff, people still tell me that's the best poker movie they ever make. Every time I go to the casino or run into somebody at the shopping mall, I say, Johnny, that Rounder movie was one of the best movies. I said, really? Well, how come they're not making the second one? Rounder 2. It's up to me. I would have made Rounder 10. But
this should have been the Rocky franchise. Yeah, they'd be having your son Joseph in there when they get around to Rounders 5. It really was a fascinating depiction of something that, in your wildest imagination, Johnny, I mean, you're winning World Series of Poker main events in the late 80s, 87, 88, back-to-back. Could you have ever anticipated the explosion that took place in interest in the game of poker? Because now everybody's playing it. In fact, my son has visions of knocking you out of the World Series of Poker this year. And I
Oh,
didn't even know he played until he lost all his tuition money one semester at the
what is
University of
his
Central
name? So I
Florida.
can stay away from him.
That would be the great Jesse DeForest. He'll be involved. But could you have ever in your? I remember going into poker rooms. I was on my way into the sports book, and I was betting some horse racing out in Las Vegas years ago, talking about circa maybe the late '80s, early '90s, and they would be begging you to come to the poker table. You would have maybe 3 guys sitting there that looked like they'd been there for 18 hours waiting to start a game, and nobody was interested.
The movie, right? If he wears a suit and a tie.
Yeah, it was nuts. Could you remember foreseeing this, Johnny Chan?
No, I mean, and I started playing poker in the 70s. People, anytime you do anything gambling, playing poker, or going to Las Vegas, it's bad. Sand City, this and that.
Yes.
But now, in the 2000, gambling, poker is going to be on TV. I want to be in it. Now everybody loves it. So I'm glad. I mean, I love it too. So.
Yeah. How did you get going in this? Were you some kind of math whiz? I mean, what got Johnny Chan to sit down on a poker table for the first time?
My parent owns a restaurant in Houston many years ago. After we closed, all the customers doesn't want to leave, like especially on Saturday night. They don't have to work, and so we started spreading a house game with no rakes, just play with among the customers. We play dealer's choice, playing like 50 cents and $1. That was a lot of money then.
Yes.
And the winner, we go to Denny's for breakfast. That was a good. That was like Sunday morning at 5, 6 o'clock.
Yes.
So we play dealer's choice. We play. I remember we play Mexican sweat. You put a card in your head. Everybody start laughing.
Yeah, we call that Indian poker on the East
Indian
Coast.
poker
Yes.
and baseball, like Dr. Pepper. All those kind of wild games. That's how I learned it. Yeah.
All right. At what point did you realize that you were better than the other guys?
At what point?
Yeah.
Good question. I took a junket out of Houston, from Houston to Las Vegas, put up $2,500. Go to Vegas, and I didn't know there's a poker room in Las Vegas at the time. I was just a kid, So I was like 16, 17 years old. Oh, wow. But I didn't know you had to be 21. But the junket robs just put up $2,500. I'm going to give you 3 nights, 4 days, a round trip airplane ticket, and all the buffet you can eat. I said, wow, that sounds pretty good. All the buffets you can eat. So I said, put up the $2,500. So we left there on Friday. I think we're supposed to come back on Monday or Tuesday. So I drove my car to the Harvey Airport. I still remember this day. So I put all my money in my wallet. So I went to Vegas. Believe it or not, Jeff, 2 hours later, I was dead broke. I lost everything. Everything. I was sitting there. They give me a little sticker. It says, Mr. C, how much money you need? They know how much money I got. I got $2,500 deposit at the cage. So I said, Mr. C, how much money you need? So I said, give me whatever is available. So I lost that in 2 hours, and I'm dead broke. And that's on Friday afternoon, I guess. So I walked. It was at the Landmark Hotel. It's no longer there. You probably remember.
Yeah.
The Landmark car from the convention center. Now it's already blow up. That's where the Turnberry is. Anyway, so I walked from the Landmark to downtown Golden Nugget. I had no money, so I just, what are you gonna do? You don't want to hang around the casino. It was some around July. It was like 115, 120 degrees. I didn't give a shit. So I walk walk from there to downtown, walk into the Golden Nugget, and I look around, I run into a poker room. I said, people playing poker here. Wow. So I had no money. I stand on the rail, just looking around, watching those guys play. They play bad. They play terrible. I think to myself, man, I can beat those guys if somebody could give me some money.
Yeah. Got to find a local pawn shop.
I don't know anybody.
Yeah.
However, I get a credit card.
That's the way to do it. Finance your trip.
I said, ma'am, can I get any money on my credit card? Go to that corner, dial the 800 number. So I call the 800 number. How much can I get? $200. I messed up. I still remember. But they charged me like 39%.
Yes, the juice is high.
You can charge me 300%. I'm going to give it to you. Give me the money. So I went to the cage, got my 200, sit in the 1 and 5 or 5 and 10 or $1 and $5 limit, $3 and $6 limit hold'em game. A week later, true story, I ran that up to over $30,000. playing 3 and 6, and then I played 5, 10, 10 and 20. I was running every day. I was young. I'll put in 16, 18 hours a day. I just loved to play. I was full of energy, man. I couldn't go to sleep. And I got the feeling of the winning. So I deposit all the money in the cage. So the casino hosts, they can see how much money you got. So they give me a call in my room. Mr. Chan. I say, yes. Would you like a show ticket? What's that? Kenny Roger or whatever, and we can get you a nice better room. I'll get you a suite. I say, really?
Yeah.
And I say, sure. So they move me a nice suite. But Mr. Chet, however, you don't have to play, but every now and then just gives a little play on the blackjack or the crap table or I say, oh, that's no problem. I say, yeah. And then I go to this. You got a nice Italian restaurant called Stefano. I still remember. I had the lobster linguine, one of the best lobster linguine you ever taste. I mean, shrimp was this big, and the Caesar salad. I say, man, this is the life.
And there you go. A Star is Born. Fantastic.
I said, I think I can't get this every day. That's my host.
Good story. So you get started that way. You evolved to become a World Series of Poker champion in the main event, 10-time bracelet winner. A lot of this, I would imagine, is due to your ability to A, read situations, and B, read people. How important is that? And how did you come by this skill? Because I thought Seidel was going to crap in his pants, and I don't even know if you had it that day. And still to this day, nobody knows what the hell you had. To win that final hand that was depicted in the movie Rounders. But how did you acquire this kind of people skill, and how important is it to a poker player?
When I was playing poker, I'm playing with people of all walks of life. I mean, I play with doctors, lawyers, astronauts, and people engineering. We play. And then you learn how they think, and then you learn how they act when they have a good hand or not, and how they talk to it. Body language is very important, and just you put all that together and just try to use that when you're up against your opponent. That's the whole key of playing poker. Is a mind game. It's just not everybody can play aces. Everybody can wait for aces and kings. What if you don't have aces and kings? Yeah. What are you going to do with a 10 and a 4,
Yes. That's my common hand. I 2-6 off suit would be where I start most games. What are you
playing, Jeff? I want to be there.
Well, Lubie and I, Loom is, what do they call that? Dead money? Or we would be the biggest suckers there. Now, who's the toughest to get a read on? There's so many famous poker players now that all became famous because ESPN started televising it, and people were thinking, what the fuck is this? And then you found yourself watching it. You were fascinated by the moves that were made. And this goes back to the old days when you had like Sammy Faha with a cigarette and some of the old timers dangling from his lips and Scotty Wynn. I mean, how did those players compare with the guys that you see that came along after that, like Phil Hellmuth and Negreanu and company?
In the old days was pretty easy to read their hands, and you can figure out what they had. Nowadays, I don't know what the hell they had because they got so many technology right now. They just figure they see in the old days we can play 1,000 hands a week or 1,000 hands a day. But now with the computer and everything online, they can play 10,000s a hand.
Yes.
When you play 10,000 a hand, you get a lot of knowledge in your brain. Just like a fighter, when you keep practice, you keep hitting the back. One day you're gonna break the back. That's what's happening here.
The money is staggering. It's available. You see some guy, some schmuck that like Chris Moneymaker, who wasn't even big time in the game, relatively new. He wins $5-6 million. That's now a pittance compared to what's available. And a lot of incentives. So how anxious are you to get back in that winner's circle at the World Series of Poker? Are you still playing, Johnny? And I also want you to take us back and maybe do a little play-by-play dissection on that Seidel hand that was featured and made so famous in the movie Rounders.
Sure. When I was down to head up with Eric, he had like 3-1 chips on me, and then we almost got even. And then we have a big hand. I had pocket 8, he had pocket 9, and he doubled through me. And then I down to nothing, and then I ground him back up. The final hand, I was Jack 9 with the button. Normally, if he had my hand, he would have raised it. But I just want to limit in. So this way, I want to outplay them on the flop. I would not try to outplay them before the flop. And anytime I felt like he had a better hand, I can get away from it. So that's what my MO. Just take the flop. Sure enough, flops 8, 10, queen, and he got queen 7. He bet right into me, so I just raised him a little bit, so I didn't want to lose them.
Yeah,
I don't want him to run away. So he called, and 4th street comes a blank. He checked, and I say to myself, I bet he's probably gonna fold it, and I know anytime I check, he's always bet that. He's so aggressive at the time. We were young.
Yeah.
So sure enough, on 5th Street comes a blank. He just shoved it all in. I said, "Oh baby." This is So I look back, make sure I have a jack and a 9. Make sure the nuts. I just turn over. I had the nuts, and I raised my hand. I'm a 1988 world champion.
That's crazy.
It's a beautiful thing and made legendary. Yes, anytime you're commemorated and distinguished with a film depiction of your achievement in sports or any game for that matter, it's absolutely great. Johnny Chan, our special guest here on the morning briefing. All right. Well, one of the things that was great about the movie Rounders, some of the seedy underground games of poker. And anybody that's been a gambler has probably been in a situation like that, where, as you were talking about, I remember going to restaurants and bars in California, and they're playing blackjack illegally. This is years ago when I lived down in L.A., and you could do it till 3, 4 in the morning, and like you say, then go get a grand slam at Denny's with the winnings and buy for everybody. But yeah, I mean, as you size up all of these different situations that you're in, what was I mean, I love the scene in the room with KGB where Matt Damon is trying to get out from this big debt that Ed Norton had helped him as the worm ring up, and so typical of gambling stories where one guy is on the up and up and the other guy is doing everything to sabotage their chances of winning. It happens to guys at the track all the time and anywhere else. But I love the scene because my son actually does the taxes for John Malkovich, the actor.
Really?
Income tax, yeah. And when Malkovich calls the first time, my son was relatively new at this. Malkovich says, "So where do I stand?" He says, "Pay that man his money." They knew the kid was going to make it after that. But what's like the hairiest situation you've been in where you didn't know if you were going to get paid, or I mean, what would you say would be, the bottom rung of poker situations that you've been in your lifetime?
Well, in the '70s, there's a lot of home games. A man named Jesse Alto runs a home game in downtown. He's high rise. We call it 2016 Main. It's one of the famous private game poker house in Houston. I mean, everybody went there and play. I'm talking about some old names like Johnny Moss, probably Doyle Brownson, Betty Carey. You can name it. Any poker player played that place before, like Sam Picholo, Tommy Huffnickel, Bob Moon,
Yeah.
Earl Cannon. And then, a lot of times in that game, just they rig a lot. But one thing about Jesse, he runs a game. When you win, you get paid. But nowadays, a lot of private games, you win, you don't get paid, and you're probably going to get robbed or get cheated one way or other. So you draw in debt. So I don't go to home games anymore. So that's where I'm at.
Well, you don't have to. You're Johnny fucking Chan. I mean, you walk
That's
in,
right.
you're welcome anywhere.
As long as you live, all right?
I mean, from a mental standpoint, how stressful, or I mean, you're obviously staring down winning a big pile of cash, a life-changing score if you win the main event, World Series of Poker. But what was it like? I mean, it's a grind, isn't it, Johnny? I mean, it's not like it's the easiest thing to do. You have to have a lot of mental stamina to do it. I don't mean to make it sound like pro wrestling, but yeah, I mean, I would imagine it's not easy to keep yourself together over how many days that you have to play.
I mean, playing the World Series?
Yes.
Well, I don't play much. I haven't played much tournaments anymore for the last 20 years. I only play in the main event, or I play one or two, maybe three, the most during the World Series of Poker. But I play a lot of cash games. The cash game, we play mix game. We play Hold'em, we play No Limit Deuce, we play Triple Draw, we play 7-card stud, we play Low Ball, we play Ras. That's the kind of game I like to play. That's where I play with Chip and Doyle and those guys day in and day out for the last 40 years.
Oh, wow.
Nice,
So you'll play, so you still play regularly. Do you ever just go out there to a spot and just try and test not only your game, but just give people a taste? Because I know in the poker game, a lot of people want to play against the greats, a lot of the big names. Do you ever just go out there, hit up a casino and just, give people a taste these days?
Not really. There's a group of limit player. Like I go to Vegas. Okay. I go to Resort World. I know there's a 3 and 600 and 4 and 800 game, and people will be on the list and waiting for who's going to be playing. Those kind of games, I mean, everybody's good, which I like. Everybody's good. I know where they at when I'm in the pot with them. But if I play in a tournament, I don't know 90% of the players or 95% of the players in the tournament. Mm-hmm. So I'm in the dark, and they know how I play because TV and the high stake pokers and all that. So I'm got a disadvantage there. So.
Johnny Chan with us here on the morning briefing. Just a couple of more things, if you don't mind. Now, what do you do when you're not playing poker? Is that a fair question? Because you obviously were out late last night, and probably took some poor person's money down. And but what kind of other stuff does Johnny Chan enjoy doing?
I enjoy travel. I enjoy shopping. I enjoy spend a lot of time with my kids and grandkids. Nice. I got 5 grandkids now. They're so much fun. I mean, I love every moment when I'm with them. But yes, every now and then I still play poker. I play, at the Bike or the Hawaiian Garden or the Commerce in LA. Where you guys at? You're in Miami?
Yes.
Yeah, every now and then I might fly to Miami and play at the Hard Rock.
You show up at the Hard Rock? Wow. That's got to be scary for the people there that are playing.
Oh, no. Now there's so many good players. There's so many world champions.
Yes.
I'm like a thing of the past. I mean, since I won the World Series back in 1988, how long ago was that? Almost 40 years ago.
Yeah, 36 years.
Yeah, it's a long time ago. A lot of people forget already,
Yeah, no, but it's indelibly impressed upon everybody's memory bank and made legendary, especially by the movie Rounders, which what was really, really terrific because they had the vernacular down before it was popular, before everybody knew what the hell they were talking about. And I think that, did you ever have a worm in your life? Somebody that was just, while you were having all the success, changing your credit card debt into 30 dimes at that first game downtown. Did you have somebody like that? Because I would imagine, in the gambling world, there's always somebody that's like a sycophant that is just out there and, out to destroy everything that you're doing, even if they mean well.
Yeah. Even, like Stu Unger is really good friend.
There you go. Also commemorated in film. Yeah.
Yeah. He's a really good friend of mine. I help him out 100 times. There's a lot of people, like Robert. I'm not going to give him last name. And
you can go ahead and list a few. Yeah, these scumbags.
They always need a helping hand. So I always, so that's part of the, gambling world,
Yeah.
Most money you ever won at one time, besides the World Series of Poker?
Probably about 400,000 or 500,000.
It always amazes me when you see people in Vegas and they have more than your net worth on the table while they're playing, shooting craps or at the roulette wheel. All right, Johnny, we'll look forward to. Are you going to be in the World Series this year? Because I'm going to be out there during that period of time in Las Vegas. I'd love to meet you. And
I'm going to play in the main event, and I just want to say a couple of things.
Yeah.
I want one more bracelet like this one when I won in 1988 and 1987. And also I won this ring in 1988 when they had the Poker Hall of Fame poker tournament and at the Horseshoe. And there's a picture of Benny Binion on it on one side, which he created the World Series of Poker and the Poker Hall of Fame. And then the other side is 1988 when I won the Poker Hall of Fame. They only had 2 years, in 88, 89, which I won both those tournaments. And listen to this, Jeff. I won the World Series of Poker in 1987, won in 88, and runner-up in 1989, which I lost to Phil Hellmuth.
Yeah. Pain in the ass. Yeah.
And then I won 2 Poker Hall of Fame. With everybody wants to play poker, so Jack Binion created a Poker Hall of Fame. They last for a few years. I won both of them before the Harris bought the Horseshoe out. So what the ring, what Mr. Binion's picture. I mean, I'm just so proud of it. It's good memory. So yes,
I thought you took that off Patrick Mahomes at the Super Bowl when he was in the casino.
Yeah.
What's the strangest thing that's ever been thrown in the pot? You always see these Western movies, and the guy's throwing the deed to the ranch in there, and the betting, he's throwing his wife. What's the weirdest thing you've ever had in a pot? Because when you're looking at the jewelry, I'm thinking to myself, well, he probably won some of that stuff, just taking it right off a guy.
A very good question. A $10,000 bill.
No.
One $10,000 bill.
I didn't even know one existed. I've certainly never seen one.
One $10,000 bill. In the old days, in the 70s, people used a lot of $500 bills and $1,000 bills in a home game. True story.
$10,000 bill.
Wow. One $10,000 bill.
So you never took somebody's house or anything in a poker game?
Well, lucky I didn't get my house taken.
Johnny, we look forward to seeing you out there in Las Vegas. We thank you so much for doing this. It's always a pleasure. I mean, we've talked to many legends in our years of doing stuff together here on our sports streams, Johnny. But I have to say this is a huge honor for both Lubie and me. And we thank you so much for joining us here on the morning briefing.
Okay, Louis, it's my pleasure, and I hope the show going to be turn out very success. Looking forward to see you in Vegas, guys. Okay.
All right, sounds good.
All right.